Hi everybody, Walker with Property Base here. Today I want to walk you through the workflow for the commercial real estate application. So this is everything you need to know about Property Base. This is how you work. Hold on to your hats, we're going to move real fast. You're working with either two types of clients. You're either working with a buyer or a seller. If it's a seller, you're going to get their listing, you're going to add that listing to Property Base, and you're going to start doing some marketing, and then you're going to create an offer and a closing on it eventually. So the process for the buyers is a little bit different, and that's what we're going to walk through today. So if I have a new buyer that's coming into the system, and I can do this, I can go look at all my prospects. And let's say, Ricky Fernandez calls in and he has a property request, something that he's looking for. So contact type, he's not a tenant. Let's switch him over to a buyer. It's really important to keep this stuff up to date because now you can run reports and see a list of all your buyers and market to those people. So real important to keep the contact type up to date. So if I scroll down, I'm probably going to log a call. Ricky just called in. He's looking for this or that. We had a really good conversation. Here's his time frame. Log that history of that call, and then create yourself a follow-up of what's the next step in the process. What's the next task that needs to happen here? You can also create a series of follow-ups with the action plan, and we talk about that in another video, but that allows you to kind of automate and keep things standard in the office for tasks that need to happen for new prospects or for new listings. So the next step for the buyer and what I need to do for Ricky is create a requirement. And so the requirement is what is he looking for? What does Ricky want on this one? We just go in and we put in our criteria. What's his price range? What type of property is he looking for? Whatever notes we need. And I'm going to save this. And now I have this requirement saved under Ricky's record. And I can see maybe Ricky's got multiple requirements. Maybe he's always looking to buy properties. So I need to be able to track multiple requirements. Now that this is in the system, I've got two options. I can go out to LoopNet, I can go out to CoStar, and I can find the listings that'll make sense for them. And I can bring those into the system so I can start putting activity around those listings as it happens. Or I can search my inventory first. I just click that Find Matching Listings, and it's going to go through my inventory to say, hey, maybe I have something already that would work for Ricky. Right now, all I want to see here is the active listings because the status here, it's showing me all the listings and comps, things that have been sold, so I can maybe get a feel for what a value should be. But I just want to see everything that's in preparation and active, and I'll click search here again. And I don't have any matches, so I need to make it a little more broad. Just for the demo purposes. So, okay, I want to go ahead and suggest this property to Ricky. I'm going to select the property, and I can email it to Ricky, or I can just track the recommendation and give him a call and tell him to go check this one out. So for today, I'm just going to track it, track this recommendation. Perfect. It's been recommended. And what that means is it's going to take me back to my requirement. And now I have a running list down here of all the properties that I've recommended to Ricky. And I can go into these and I can create some feedback. So I can say, okay, he really liked this one. Here's what he said about it. Or maybe he didn't like this one and here's why. So now I'm keeping track of everything I'm doing with Ricky, all of our conversations and all the properties that I'm recommending to him. But let's look, and then once we've got some properties and he decides he wants to put an offer out on one, what we're going to do is we can create that offer from the offers, or we can do it from right here in the requirements. So this is the one that he wants to put an offer on. So let's create this offer. And what's going to happen is it's going to pull in the information from the listing, the price information, and now I have these options up here. So as I get feedback from the seller, maybe we need to create a counter offer, and that's going to log that history of that activity right here, and I'll be able to see the offered amount based next to the price of the actual listing to see where we stand and what happens going back and forth. And I can also attach documents as I go along as well, if you want to keep track of all those documents right here. Once you've found a price that everybody likes, you can accept the offer. And that's going to take the listing from on market to off market. It's basically going to become a comparable at that point. And so the next step, and really something that you might want to even do first, and I'll show you why, is create a closing. So that's the next step. Now we're going to create a closing on this based on this offer and this listing. And I just need to search for the listing, drop it in there, search for the contact that's buying it, drop it in there. And then why you would want to create this closing maybe even before the offer, like right when you get the buyer requirement or right when you get the listing, is because here's where you're going to want to track your commission forecasting. So as soon as you have the deal, you can say, okay, I think it's going to close within the next 3 months. So I'll give myself a date. And you do the math. What's your potential commission on this? Drop it in there. And then what's the probability that you think this thing's actually going to close? You know your business. You can put in a probability there. And if you save that, now you can report on your commission forecasting, and you can look out for the next 6 months, for the next year, and see when you think deals are going to drop. But the other part of the closing is when you have actually accepted the offer, you can come in and you can do your actual commission tracking, and you might need to add a couple fields here based on your business. We can help you with that. But also you can create the closing checklist of items that need to occur in order for this deal to go through. And again, you can create some action plans to automate tasks if every time a deal closes you're doing the same thing. So we can get into that later. But that's the process. Once you have the requirement and you've recommended the properties, you select the property that you want to put the offer on, you go back and forth, and then eventually you create the closings. And so if you want to report on all your deals that have gone through, all you need to do is create a report of all your offers that have been accepted. And that's going to show you all the deals that you've won this year. And so now let's look at this at the reverse angle. Now let's look at the listings and see what's going on with the listing record as we're doing these actions over here. Everything's related in the system. And so I can see that on this listing record, I've got all my important information here, but also I've got all the activity of what's going on. So I can see all of the people that we recommended this listing to and how much they've liked it. I can see all the offers that are out on this property and if any have been accepted. And then I can see the closing that's associated with this listing as well. So this is the nice 360-degree view of everything that's going on in your listing record and your contact record as well, and everything in between. The properties tab, this is added because a listing is something that's active or been sold where the property never leaves. So if I go to this San Francisco property, this is the actual address for this property. And maybe this property has multiple spaces on it, or maybe it's had a bunch of listings and comps attached to it over time. So you can even hide this in the back end if you don't need to use it every day. But it's nice to just be able to go to that address and see all the listings or any spaces that are within that property as well. So this is a very quick workflow and a very quick tutorial of how to use the system. There's obviously a lot more to it, a lot more that you can do with it, but I hope this helps you to get started so that you guys can get value out of this system right away.